Hello, everybody. Welcome to an impromptu big questions, medium coffee. I'm your host, Marie Salone, and I'm here with Veronica Yanhs, one of my very favorite people in the world. Veronica, we met I don't know, we were saying 6 or 7 years ago. We don't even remember now. Well, we met in a Facebook group, and then we didn't really we didn't know each other, and then a year later we kind of got to know each other, and then we have been business besties since. So and I mean, there's it's so funny because I love when people are like, oh, I love this about Veronica's brand. And I'm like,
wait, whatever which way the camera is pointing, I'm pointing at you.
Really? You like it? Because I made that. I love it. It's one of those things where it's you get secret glee. I don't say that all the time, but I'm like, because it's secret glee. I love that when we've built businesses together, these integrations, and you have definitely impacted and changed my business. There's times where I'm like, oh yeah, that's because of Veronica. Those things that are, when you're building businesses together, I think this is over the last, 6-7 years, we have a few mutuals that we all have lent this amazing impact. And now looking at where our businesses are, it's just such a great feeling. But we have a purpose today, Veronica. We were talking about something, and I said, oh my gosh, we need to record this. So we were talking about, a bad word, a bad word amongst multi-passionate entrepreneurs. And I say multi-passionate, anybody who has this kind of drive, or they've got so many ideas in their head. And when we say, okay, focus on one offer, what happens? What happens when people do that?
People just freak out, or people get really, really offended, or they're just like, I'm multi-passionate and you can't hold me down this way. I don't consent. And I was like, okay, let's take a chill pill. Let's talk.
Yes, let's take it back and actually say why this works. It's like we're gonna stop them forever. You've only got to sell one thing for the next 40 minutes. What are you gonna sell? And that's not how it works at all. But there's some value to it. So we were talking today. So I was saying one of the things that happens in the accelerator rooms is that people come in and they might have tried selling something last week. And when I say tried selling, it's they put out one post on Facebook. And I always joke because I had a client once that was like, I put it out and nobody wanted it. I'm like, you put it out Monday night at 11 p.m. in one Facebook group, and you just basically were like, I have this thing. You didn't talk about what it is or how people can, work with it or who it's for, all of these things that come into a marketing plan. You didn't sell it. You didn't even try marketing it yet. And you're going to tell me that nobody wants this offer. And we hear this all the time because people are just like, I want to put out this offer. It's exciting. It's exciting. Or I'm going to come up with this offer and I'm going to put out this landing page. I'm going to spend all this time. But then they don't do the work to put the systems in place, not only to market it, but then, as you're saying, what happens if it does become success? What if it goes viral and you don't have the systems in place in order to keep it being successful?
Yeah, because it's not just another offer. It's the offer, the idea, and then all the different systems that go into making that offer actually sustainable and supportive of you rather than dragging you down. We're talking about things like marketing offers, like onboarding or marketing systems, onboarding systems, like customer service systems, offer fulfillment. You have to deliver on what people paid for. And it's these things aren't often looked at because the shiny thing is sales page, idea, payment
funnel,
gateway.
maybe a funnel.
Maybe, because that's a whole different thing.
but their funnel is 3 emails. And I'm like, that's not a funnel. A 3 emails does not a funnel make. There's so many other things that you can be doing and putting into place. Now, I think for some people, it feels like a lot of work. And so it can be overwhelming to kind of think of all the systems. So give me an example of a system that you have found where people are overwhelmed, but really makes a big impact in their business once they get it going.
Yeah. So the first one is how people inquire about your offer. So I like to use a lot of analogies because I don't know, making it easy for other people to understand operations makes me really happy. So think of your house. Everything that's on your front porch to your lawn, that to me is marketing stuff. But then the moment somebody crosses through your front door into your house, that's where I love to play. And so when I talk about bringing people in, it's they're literally knocking on your front door going, hey,
yes,
I think I want to buy from you, or I think I want to work with you. do you have the systems to make it easy for them to get the information or inquire or even pay you in a way that honors your boundaries and who you are? Like, I have people who are not don't love taking sales calls because it just drains them, not that they don't enjoy conversations, but it just drains them. So it's like, why do something that drains you? Because you have to honor your boundaries. Like, what about an application, or maybe giving them enough information to buy on the website, or maybe do some social selling? Marketing is not my thing, but close on the direct messages or emails
Yeah.
or whatnot. So it's like, these are all the things you have to think about and be intentional about, because people are paying you money. First impressions happen again and again when people pay you money versus when they don't. And so it's like, you have to consider every aspect, but people don't. Hence why creating more offers often lends to more problems.
Yes. Well, and you have never fixed it, right? So like you're just creating
Mhm.
more ideas. You've now confused your audience because they have no idea what to buy from you. I see this a lot of times. People will buy, 800 domains and then they're like, "Here's my domain of the week." Well,
Domain
me,
hoarding.
domain hoarding, domain hoard, a hoarder, a hoarder. It's my channel. I can say what I want. But these are like, this is the thing. And but yet when I go to refer those people, because I'm like, wow, these are really amazing people. I have no idea which URL or even what service to refer. I know that you're brilliant. I know that you've helped me, you've done something, but then like when I go forward, and so we have to make it easy for people to not only buy from us, but to talk about us. And I think you've done a really great job with Business Laid Bare. Like it's pretty easy. It's a catchy name. But it is also really easy to say. Like it's quick, it's easy to write. We don't have to worry about, did we spell it wrong? Well, I guess somebody could spell it BEAR. And then that's a whole other
It's a
that's
whole other video.
a whole other niche. But for the most part, and then it's like you land on your page and it's like, okay, what does Veronica offer? So we've talked a lot about this because I do encourage you a lot. You're like, I've got this one offer and I love it. And I'm always like, hey, you've got this one offer, but then how do we scale that offer? How do we scale that? How do we increase it? Because as you increase your reach, as you do more marketing, you are going to have a variety of clients and customers. But like I talked about this today, you don't have to change. You don't have to come up with a whole new offer. You can just scale parts of it so that you're able to have a different kind of niche or a different type of audience who are looking for a slightly different service.
For sure. And here's the thing about offers. I'm not against you having one. I'm not against you having 100. From an operations perspective, I'm all about helping you understanding the different systemization needs that goes into each offer. So rather than having like half built bridges from the start island to the end island, it's like we want to help you systematize that offer. And one, especially with service based businesses, it's like there are 7 core systems that go into making an offer actually
You have a visual
sustainable.
of that, Veronica?
I do actually, but so that's why I'm just like, hear me out. Like, I love it if you have multiple offers, but
Yeah,
if you have multiple offers that are half built, half assed, half thought through, they're not helping you. They're actually creating more work for you than maybe having fewer offers, like 1 or 2, and tweaking them and making sure they're like systematized so well that if you were to step back or take an extra vacation day, you can delegate it or automate it so that you're not at the beck and call without your consent to
yeah.
your business. It's not running you. So, okay, let me see if I can actually share my screen.
Okay, while you're putting your screen up, I'll say, that's one thing I've noticed too is that people will spend so much time. I think I just have to change our
Hang
layout.
on, I had
Oh,
to open a new window.
oh, I clicked on. Okay, here we go. Let's see.
There you go.
Is it
Oh,
working?
wait, hey, can you see my screen?
Yeah. Oh, and somebody
Okay.
says they feel called out. I can't see who it is, but someone says they're feeling called. But this is the thing. Is it like I find that some people, they focus so much on building this next message or this next offer, and they don't spend enough time on their marketing, which is really where we need, or they don't spend enough time on their that flow, like you're saying, when somebody's knocking on your door. Have we created a system that allows people to come in really quick? Do you want to zoom in a little bit more? I'll put it. I'll
Yeah,
just do this a little
I
bit.
will like expand my screen as so I can't see your face anymore. So if you're making faces at me, I can't see it. So actually, I'm gonna be smart. I have two computers. Okay, here we go. So can you see the screen okay? So, in terms of making your offer actually orgasmic and supportive, these are the 7 systems. Well, yeah, there's actually more, but I can always add more. But if everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. So, if adding a new offer isn't taken into consideration of all of these things, you don't have something that supports you. So, in the way that I have created this, we have things like how you package your offer, right? That is a system in and of itself. And the system, the definition we have at Business Light Bear is the people, processes, and tools working together to consistently achieve a specific result. So not only do you need to know what you offer and have those components laid out so that you're not creating worksheets on the fly or not knowing what to talk to your coaching client about. It's like you week after week or curriculum based know exactly what it is you offer. And then the one we talked about in terms of like the front door, you have like offer inquiry. How do people, potential buyers, inquire about what you provide so that they have all the information they need to make an empowered decision? And then do you have a payment gateway that actually helps you do what you need it to do? Because oftentimes when we have clients and accelerator students, because we run an accelerator as well, there are lots of other automations and tasks that happen that add them to the learning management system, that sends them a welcome email. It's like you want to make sure that whatever your offer has, you're creating that experience in a way that allows people to rave about you. Like if they have a really cool experience working with you, whether it's feeling heard on the inquiry call, payment was easy, you're not like struggling to like have them like mail you a check or something, and onboarding them and making sure you delivered on what you promised and also offboarding them, they'll rave about you to other people or want to continue working with you. And it's like a walking testimonial in and of itself. So that's why when we talk about systematizing offers, this is just the internal operations. Like, I don't know where Marisa went because I can't see the screen, but it's
I'm
like you have
here.
to
I'm
have, you have to,
here.
okay, okay, great. It's just like I can keep talking, but I'll go off on a tangent. But it's like you just have to consider all of these things. And I love that Marisa, it's like you're like front door and I'm like back door. And like you
Hey, I have been known to to tinker around with a few back doors in some businesses myself.
so it's like coming from an operations perspective, please, 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 like don't keep making new offers for the sake of it. Like systematize the ones that you have. And then Marisa can talk to you more about like then tweaking if offers don't make sense. So I'm done with my soapbox for now. But this graphic to me, I use it all the time
Yeah, and I love
because
this
it's
because I think what we don't like you said, like, figure out your systems. If we can figure out the whole like what works for each, because each business owner has their own like boundaries, they have their own tools that they prefer. If we can figure out the system that works that allows you to not only market easily, but also for people to buy from you easily and then stay with you. This is the other thing we've been talking about is this recurring revenue is that
right
the
here.
reality is that we're spending so much money on cold traffic, and you can see across all of the business systems where that's like marketing, getting new clients, getting new leads, getting new leads. And I'm like, what? Why are we spending more money on getting new leads when we could be actually developing an incredible system of repeat clients and customers that bring money into our business with ease? So there's that too. So it's a system of like, there's a system of finding new leads, there's a system of bringing those leads into the business and bringing them in as being celebrated clients and customers. And then there is the system of the repeat, and I say pay it again, Sam. It's that having those repeat customers come in, but then they become ambassadors for you. Like all of those make it easier for people to talk about you, make it easy for people to refer you. All of these, there's a system behind it.
I am such a fan of, and this is me personally, right? I'm just speaking from a personal desire perspective. It's like I love meeting new people, but I also really relish the relationships that I create while working with my clients. So
Yeah.
it's like if what I offer with integrity can be something that they can stick with me for after our initial implementation phase, for instance, it's like, of course, I'm going to offer that because it makes sense. So I'm not just creating another offer because it's more money. I'm creating another offer because one, that's truly how I can be of service. And
Right.
two, how can it be scalable so that I am not the bottleneck? How can I step away from this so that not only can the clients get served and have their needs met and taken care of,
Yeah.
but it can be done so by my team. All of these require approaching your offer with systematic thinkings. And it's not easy, right? Let me just say that right now. It's not easy. You have to switch your mindset.
Or hire someone
Or
already has that mindset. And I can't stress that enough, right? Because sometimes we're like, we can be the best bread maker in the world, but that doesn't make us the best marketer of that bread. It doesn't make us the best, person who can calibrate the oven so that the bread always rises like that. We rely on people who are experts in there. And that is all a part of those systems too, is knowing when to hire, knowing when to find help and ask for support is a whole other system that we can talk about. But one thing I do want to say before you, because you mentioned about building that relationship, I think a lot of people feel like when we talk about things like automating things in your business and setting up systems, is that building a relationship becomes robotic. And it doesn't. It allows you to do so much more in person and full contact because you have the systems that support it.
I like to think of it this way. Your computer programming, the automations, the zaps from Zapier, whatnot, are only as smart and personable as you make it. So if you feel like it's robotic, the onus is on you to
Yes.
make it not robotic. It's essentially you're hiring an
Yes.
app like Zapier to do the things that take things off your plate that are so redundant and mundane that and monotonous that you don't need to do so that the time you get back can be spent doing things that you really shine with. Like for me, that is taking the time to get to know our clients or taking the time to connect via coffee chats. It's like 30 minutes of work saved means that I could have connected with somebody rather than just like sitting there resenting the work that I have to do. But you have to switch that mindset, right? So hire your apps and teach them to have that human touch.
Yeah, and hire humans in your business too to
Mhm.
help develop those processes. Because sometimes too, like straight out of the box, yeah, those systems, those tools are super robotic. They're super. We were just talking about like the AI writers this morning. When you first put it in, you're like, it's a little stiff, right? But you're not supposed to just take that paragraph and just put it on your page. You're supposed to take that paragraph and go, okay, how do I actually put my voice onto it? How do I put my personality? And then what's the call to actions? What is the what do I want people to do with this piece? What's the purpose? So when you start to bring that human into it, it changes the way the AI assisted content. Now you've got people out there who just like, I'm going to generate all this AI content and try to game the system. But you know what? They're starting to get hurt. They're starting to see that now we're looking for people who are actually putting in the work to build the relationships into those systems.
I mean, you get out what you put in, right? So, but I do have a question for you, Marisa. So let's just say
Yeah.
somebody's watching this and they're just like, I have like 10 offers that are like not doing well or
Yeah.
they're making me the money. I spend more effort and energy like managing them than actually making money from them. Like,
Yes.
what would you say to them? Like, how would you start to work through these like 10 offers? Like, say that's
Yeah.
me. I have 10 offers and they kind of all
Yeah.
suck and or whatnot.
Well, I take them through the profit plan usually. I start you know this. It's like, okay, well, how much like what's our goals, right? And how much time do you have? So this is the thing that we don't always look at it too is the system of time. Now, time doesn't exist. We
Oh,
know that Einstein, but we are still managed by these certain times, the constraints that we have. And I think a lot of people what they don't realize is that they create this like incredible offer, but it actually is going to take work to go find the niche that they want. So there might be something we have to do in as like a bridge, right? So it's like, what is the product that you can offer that helps you build status or helps you build your expert authority? A lot of people talk about expert authority or even just a media hook, right? And I'm a big fan of media relations, so it's like, what about you can we start pitching to the media? So we might start there, right? And we start with something. But the thing is that I look at like our business. I know that people are going to build multiple offers. I know that. I have four, 5.5 businesses at any given time. So I am not the poster child for doing one thing for the rest of your life. But I look at like our time as this jar and what we put into it. And I look at everything as like rocks, right? So we have big rocks, we have medium rocks, stones, pebbles, and then sand. does it make, and everybody's different. So does it make sense that we focus on a big rock because there's a big impact and you have a section of time right now where we can go and find those things that take a lot of your time now, and that allows us to build out a whole sub product of suites? Or do we focus on something because you've got an illness or a disability, or you have to be a caregiver of family members? Do we then look at the sand? So do we look at building those systems up? So I do say there's no one answer for everybody. It really does depend on their life, their time, their effort, but also their knowledge of the systems that they want to put into their business has a big impact. And I do say all the time, like, you need to go talk to Veronica first before we even do this. But I am a big fan of and the profit plan has systems and support in it, right? That's your impact on me, right? I directly put that into the profit plan because I'm like, we need the tools and the people that help us do a great job. But then we also have to include those costs into the price and products of our business, which impacts our budget and our financial forecast, right? So these are all things that kind of, so you asked me like, what do I recommend? I recommend working with someone who can take this stuff out of your brain. I
And
don't
for
always recommend it, but in some cases, if you have gotten to the point where you are a serial product maker and you have not put in the systems to market it, to sell it, to do the rinse repeat, you might need someone to give you that objective look at your business. I think that's what you do too with the systems, right? You come
for
in,
sure.
you take the emotion out of, I built my whole business on this process, to cool. Now, how are we going to grow it even bigger with this process?
And for me, we've definitely had clients that come to us of all different shapes and sizes. Like I remember one client, they're like, "I have 5 different offers and they all are and I'm exhausted and I don't really love any of my offers, blah 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 blah." Like, we take them through all this. And then it turns out that for them, and even for us, and this is what makes us different as an operations firm, it's like we are people first and pleasure based, meaning we
Yeah.
look at the people, understand you, how you intake information, how you visualize information, how you thrive, what you like, how you work, your
Yeah.
zone of genius, because then we can create solutions that feel really good, the pleasure part, because if it feels good, you'll want more of it and you'll stick to it and it'll feel intuitive and natural when you adopt this. So for
Absolutely.
us, before we even look at your offers, I'm like trying to get to know you. And if you're the type of person that's like, I am a mom of like 3 kids and my kids are really important to me because I want to spend so much time with them. But yet you've created this offer that requires you to be on Zoom or whatnot like every day
Yes.
nonstop, right? So it's like
And
we're
then we
looking
won't
at
sell it. That's the problem. That is
exactly,
usually the root. I find that. I'm like, why is this not working? Oh, it's because you don't want to actually do this. You don't have the time or that energy or the systems to support this. So you just won't market it.
exactly. And we look at like how who they are and how they want to show up and what type of impact they want to create for their business, right? And then also like the revenue. Like, are you the
Mhm.
type of person that needs to get the most bang for your buck? You wanna
Mhm.
spend all this time with your kids. It's like, then why are you putting out, like, $35 ebooks or something when
Right.
maybe the transformation somebody's looking for, they'll pay you $3,500 and you
Yep.
don't have to work so hard and you're more efficient and you get to have your cake and eat it too. So when somebody comes to us with 10 offers, we're just like, before we even look at your offer, look at who you are, how you wanna thrive, and then we craft your offer to be as lather, rinse, and repeat as possible, whether it's one or a few, so that you have a good arsenal without feeling like you're trapped. Because multi passionate entrepreneurs and people love variety, right? So it's like, how do we make sure you have that need met, but also in a strategic operational way so that the work that you put in, because operations to us is about action,
Mhm.
how can the actions be taken so that it nourishes you and supports you and your community without like draining you?
Yeah, and we're a nourish first at Crazy Rules
Mhm.
as well, right? We're people first. We everything that we look at. I know a lot of times people will be like, profit, profit, profit. We look at profit as not what you're putting in your pocket or your shareholders' pockets, but it is actually what you're doing to invest in your business, in your teams, and
Mhm.
the communities that you serve. And
Yeah.
this is why we even look at pricing differently, like because we look at like you pay yourself as a business owner out of the cost of doing business. not your profit. So your profit is there to make it even better. And when we have that mindset shift, where we're nourishing ourselves, we're nourishing our teams, we're not burning out, we're not doing that exhaustion, those require systems of support. Those require things that work for us. And when we know that it works for us, we will go out there and be bigger. We'll have a louder voice. We'll extend our reach. We'll start selling with joy, as opposed to, oh, what if 5 people? It's the fear of success is really interesting, because it usually goes down to, will I have time for this? And I got it too. And it started with like friends who were like, I know you're always so busy, but I wish we could go for coffee. I'm like, I'm literally at home sitting here making, fabric covered push pins. Like, let's go. Like, let's do this. Like, what? And I always have it in the back of my head, right? I don't want to be so busy in my business that people feel like they can't have time with me. So then what do? I halt myself, right? Instead, the easy solution was to create a friends and family link right into my calendar. And so if people want to spend time with me, they literally just book their time. They're like, I just get it.
I love
I get
it.
a note. I'm like, oh, I'm going for coffee this week.
But
Cool.
that means that you were intentional. So it's like it seems like the theme here is be intentional about the offers you put out. Like I'll
Yeah.
even use myself. I was a pretty extreme case study. So new decade, new me, 2020 came around the corner. I burnt down my business because I was
Yeah.
scraping the bottom of the barrel. Like we'll save that for another day. And I know myself really well. I would say I'm very introspective. I'm pretty self-aware. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to think about who I want to really, really work with, and I'm going to create one offer. So I was in the one offer team, but that's who I am actually as a person in general. If I
Yeah.
like an artist, I will listen to their entire discography and music. So like inch wide,
Yeah.
mile deep, because I know me. And so when I was like, when I only had to focus on one offer, make that offer amazing. And when it wasn't amazing, I could tweak it. It made me feel like I wasn't a failure and that I was actually enacting change, because the fewer offers I had meant I could innovate more from within, constantly asking myself, how can this be more orgasmic? But if I
Mhm.
had like 10 offers and my offer was pretty, I would say pretty high ticket for what my mindset was available to have back then. And so I've raised prices multiple times on that, but it was just like just focused on one thing and doing that one thing really, really well. But that's also me, right? So over time, I've added more offers. Now that this one's done, what's the next logical roadmap? So I'm a very much a
Yes.
roadmap kind of person. So my
Yes.
offers have a sequence,
Yes.
an intention. But again, I know me really well. So
Well, I'm gonna say that that works for, because I've worked with a variety of people, and the first time when they have like 10 or 20 different things out there, I'm like, let's build you a map. And then folks are like, what? I'm like, because there's some connections. I also have heard people are like, I have 2 different niches. I have 2 different. I'm like, do you?
it's probably
And
in
when I
a spectrum, a continuum.
well, that's right. Or they're just, it's like a slight little pivot, but it doesn't mean that that
Mhm.
customer over here is never going to be your customer for over this product. So I try to look at that even from a systems perspective. It's like, how do we build those systems that work for both of those niches, so you don't have 2 processes happening at the same time as well, right? For 2 different
Yeah.
products or 2 different niches.
And for me, having fewer offers personally allowed me to refine.
Yes.
And even today, when you and I were chatting this morning, I was like, one of my offers, unfortunately, is an afterthought because I just didn't have the breath to think about it. But now I know what I want for my
Mhm.
business. I know what I need. I know that I don't want to constantly keep looking for new clients, even though that's great too. But it's just like I also want to nourish and cherish and support the ones that currently are in my
Yes.
realm.
Give
So
them a
like how
chance to
do
be successful.
Yes, because operations requires a lot of refining. So, like, secret, spoiler alert, people think that building your operations is the hardest part. It's actually the refining of it because now you run it to see how it actually benchmarks with how your team and you run. Again, leaning on how well do you know yourself and your team. So,
Yes. And your
refinement
audience. And your
and your
audience too,
audience. You're right.
right?
See, I think very much back of house. You're all
Well,
about like
well, the thing is,
think
you're building
forward.
offers too that respond to what your clients need. So your clients are saying to you, okay, we got this far. Now what? And then you're like, okay, how about we look at aftercare, right? Like, how do we look at like maintaining it? Because I agree with you. And this is why I created the accelerator as a year-long container that people can renew. It's not just a year, it's not just 12 months, where it's a lifetime of your business, because we create a marketing plan or a growth plan, or even those systems, like you said, and we're going to refine it so many times. And like when I looked at like the traditional coaching or business strategies, like we're meeting here once a week and then you got to go out and you got to put that thing into place. No, that's not how it works. Like, can you imagine seeing if a system works based on 1 week of data? Can you imagine looking at ads and being like, this ad works based on 1 week of data? No, that's not how it works, because there's so many other, parameters that can impact that success.
Yeah, like what happens if you go on vacation? Can your team run this offer without you? Or what if you did it halftime? Or what if you added 5 more people? Because, like you say, like one
Exactly.
person supports like different clients or something.
Yep.
It's like these are all parameters and variables that you can't account for in 1 week.
Hmm. Yeah, we were talking yesterday with
And
Accelerator
people
with Melody.
change.
People do change. I was going to say with Melody Johnson, who also does like systems support, but we're more in the recurring revenue area. And one thing I was saying is like one of the biggest things that I've seen in businesses where it's like if somebody has to either go on vacation or they go on medical leave or they just become so overwhelmed because a project ends up getting bigger. If we say you have one backup, what happens is then that person takes on all of that load that was formerly assigned to one person, and then they become overwhelmed and they can't do their job. So it's like, how do we take a whole team approach and say, you also become the backup for this task, you become the backup for this task, you become the backup for that task? All of that requires a system of communication, because if at
Mhm.
any given time you or anyone on your team needs to leave suddenly, it's not like we don't always get a notice. COVID sprang up seemingly like all of a sudden was like, whoop, we're shutting everything down. Like all of these things. If you have a system in place, you're able to manage it and not have such a big impact on your business as it could be if you don't have those things in place.
I love that you brought that up because I didn't even think about that until you said it. Even though we do it, like part of having an offer or offers requires fail safes. Like, what happens if this scenario pops up? What happens if I have to take care of my loved ones across the
Yeah.
globe last minute?
Yep.
Do we have processes in place where who takes over and what do they do? And if who's their backup? And so it's like, that's why to me, systematizing your offers one at a time like this allows you that space to be like, okay, how do I make this offer as successful as possible? What are all the things that go into it? And you can't if you're stretched thin thinking about
Hmm.
10 things at once, because if everything's a priority, nothing is a priority.
That's right. Yeah, we all get into that. We all fall. And we were talking too about like that kind of that niche that is just they maybe have been solo in their business, or they might have had like
Mhm.
maybe an admin support, and now they're on that cusp of hiring, right? And so the processes that worked for you up until this point were you specific, and they weren't necessarily the best for your business or for you, but it's just what you fell into doing. And so there's that option when you're bringing on new people, they're going to come out and go, why are you doing it like this? And you're like, this is the way it needs to happen because I don't have the ability to onboard you and get feedback and to adjust my systems at the same time and keep business going. And that's not what we want to do. We want to be able to move into a growth period with where we're set up with a solid foundation. We've got the support around us so that when we're bringing new people and they go, why are you doing it this way? You can say, here's why we're doing it this way. Do you have ways to make it better? And it doesn't become such a freeze moment when you're doing that adjustment.
This was such a good chat. I love
Yeah.
talk I mean, like, people come at me or freak out when I literally are like, "I'm not asking you to only have one offer until you make $500,000 or
No,
whatnot. I'm
no.
literally asking you to, with laser focus, look at the different components that go into making your operations of that offer
Yeah.
sustainable and can be delivered with ease for you, and that requires one thing at a time."
Yeah, and get comfortable with those systems. Know
Mhm.
those systems in and out, how they can help you both in the opportunities and the obstacles. And I will say that goes for marketing, it goes for your
Yes.
banking, it goes for your accounting, it goes for your automations, your emails, all of those systems, even your social media posting, even your TikTok dances, if that's what you're doing. All of those things can have a really great system for putting it out there that allows you to do it with ease. If you're feeling like I can't do this right now, my first question is, what makes it feel difficult? Where's the stretch? Because there's probably a really it's not this some people are like, you're just resistant. No, your body's trying to keep you safe. Your mind is like, whoa, this is going to burn us out, or this is going to hurt us in some way. How do we do it? So when we actually start to listen to that, we have the opportunity to create really great systems and really create really great, I will say, automation that still allows us to turn the computer off, walk away, have fun, spend time with friends and family, come up with new ideas because you have the system that allows you to launch those, with ease as well. You don't always want to
Yeah.
be starting back from the beginning to do this.
Like, I recently upgraded or updated my automations for one of my core offers. So it's the very first offer that we offer to our clients. Like, you can't work with us unless we audit your business, the
Yeah,
assessment. And we created these automations because I was just like, after running it for over 2 years, I'm like, here's how I want it to be better because it was draining me here. And then once I created that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. But I wouldn't have gotten to this version 2 point if I didn't actually take the time to do version 1 and then run with it and test it and gather both quantitative and qualitative data for however many years I've been running it. And then now that we've created this version 2 automation, like, clients feel are even more taken care of, and I don't have to be at the beck and call of my laptop. I can be gone for a week
yeah.
and things would be fine because we work a month ahead at a time for assessments.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest risks you can have in your business if you're the hinge, if you are the reason why your business is a success, it scares the heck out of me. Even for these
Same.
personal brands, you know, that we feel there's this call, we have to be a personal brand. Ah, if you're still the hinge, then we have problems and we have to kind of look at how we diversify that and how we put those systems in. Okay,
Yeah.
Veronica, any parting, we'll keep talking. We said this too. We're like, we're putting ourselves a time limit because otherwise
Yeah.
Veronica will keep talking for years. So
Yep.
anything last thing you want to say about this that you want people to know about systems?
I feel like I've said enough about this topic, so I'll just leave with this, and I say this all the time. If it's not orgasmic, don't settle. Like, if something doesn't feel good, the onus is on you to figure out why and to address it, whether it's yourself or you hire people.
Yeah,
You don't have to be in pain unless that's something that actually gets you off. But
that's
I'm
right.
not a masochist, so I'll just
That's
stop
right.
there.
That's right. Yeah. And I 100% co-sign and agree with it. I will give the jazz hand seal of approval for that messaging. Thank you so much, Veronica. Veronica, if you want to find Veronica, she is at businesslaidbear.com. Just in case there's anybody like, what, bear? Rawr. No, we are businesslaidbear.com. And I'm really excited. Thank you so much, Veronica, for spending this time with me. Thank you for helping me help people, make it easy for people to buy
I
from
just
them.
love being with you. So we lift each other up, and
That's right.
I
We do it
cherish
better
our
together.
friendship so much.
We
Exactly.
do it better together. And like I said, this is like a reciprocal. Like we have, yeah. When I look at like, I'm like, oh, I see Veronica reflected in my decisions here. And like I said, I always get a kick when people are like, oh, I love what Veronica. Yeah, it's a great brand. It's an excellent brand.
Thanks,
I'm
Teresa.
very, yeah, and it's really good. And Veronica's a new website, which looks phenomenal. So please do go check it out. I
Okay,
love.
quick plug.
Oh yeah,
When
yeah.
you hire experts, things get done with such higher work quality than you can ever imagine. Like, it would take me a year to try to write like a homepage, and it'd probably be like half-assed. The branding was done in 3 weeks, and like 90% of the web development was done in a week.
Yeah, and you didn't have to think about it. You just got to step into it like a delicious
I
pair
just
of purple
talked.
shoes.
I used
Yep,
my mouth. Good things
yep.
happen when I use my mouth. I just talked, and they got my idea, and they ran with it. And it's not like, I know some people are spending like months, like 6 months to a year, and they've gotten nowhere. I'm just like, this is what happens when you hire experts.
That's right.
So,
Good experts. Like really do
yes.
your homework on your web designers. Absolutely, I will say that. Okay, we'll keep talking about
Okay.
that. So I'm gonna cut everybody off, but thanks everybody for watching. If you're watching this afterwards, please do leave a comment. Let us know what this is. And I will give a sneak peek that this is all a part of the 30 ways to make it easy for people to buy from you, which will be available very soon on createtherules.com. So if you're watching this in the future and you're like, what the heck are they talking about? Go check it out. We'll see you soon. Thanks, Veronica.